Women's anger has been suppressed for millennia by the patriarchy and church. Now, I also believe that men have an unhealthy relationship or don't know how to express healthy anger because of the church and patriarchy as well. But in this video, I'll talk from the women's perspective because we were trained, taught to be the good girls, people pleasers, to always be compliant. Don't expect anything, don't have boundaries. And if we feel anger, then we are a problem. So we turn that anger inward. And in this video, I don't want to go on about a spiel of bashing patriarchy, but I want to explain anger as a healthy response from our nervous system to protect ourselves and what we can do to reclaim authentic, healthy anger, how we can heal to be able to express that in a more healthy way that's not just good for us, but the whole world. I'm Naomi Galinsky, a somatic trauma therapist, somatic experiencing practitioner, and nervous system educator. And I came to this work through my own decade-long healing from chronic fatigue, fibromyalgia, chronic migraines, insomnia, so many symptoms. And now I help other people reconnect with their bodies so that they can experience physical and emotional well-being as well. And this channel is here for you to understand your human experience through the lens of nervous system, trauma resolution, inner child work, and transgenerational patterns. Let me start by sharing my story, my connection with anger growing up. There was always a silent rage, silent anger in my dad, and occasionally he exploded, which was scary. And then, not as often, but a few times in my childhood, he became physically abusive, beat my brother, and he slapped me, which was terrifying. I was terrified of him. My mother was also angry, but she verbally lashed out at people. She was critical, and she was always the one who had to be right, and everyone else was wrong. And when I wanted to express anger, it was shut down so fast. My mother would say to me, I have no reason to be angry. And so my parents didn't get along. They were constantly fighting, or you could tell that there was anger and tension even when there was nothing spoken. And my brother was obviously also frustrated and angry being in this family system and not being heard and met and seen, nor did I. And it was emotionally unsafe. And as children, we are biologically wired to be loyal to our caregivers. So we would suppress our authentic expression, our emotions, or whatever our caregivers don't like, to stay in connection with them for survival. So what did I do with all that anger in my body, all that frustration I felt, that unfairness of being treated sometimes the way I was, being criticized or made fun of? I would suppress that. And to suppress that, I would need to contain all that energy. And occasionally the pressure cookers got so big that it boiled over and I would explode out. But that felt so unsafe that I would shrink it all back in and I would apologize. And I would, hide until that all kind of settled and disappeared and went away. And for me, not being able to express my anger, have that life force moving through me, meant that I was experiencing fatigue even in my teenage years. There was a lot of stuff going on in my household. I'm not going to explain it all, but I remember experiencing chronic fatigue back then as well. And then throughout my 20s, I didn't have a good management system. While I wasn't healing, I was managing it through drinking, partying, drugs, and smoking marijuana every day for over a decade to try to numb it all down. And eventually my body said no more, and that was the beginning of a decade-long recovery of chronic fatigue. And then expanding that further out to the influence of millennia of patriarchy on me and on women, is that we are societally conditioned to be agreeable, polite, accommodating, self-sacrificing. And I certainly did slip into that people pleaser role, partly because I was scared of my dad, or I wanted to feel valued and seen in my family system. But that messaging comes from outside the family as well. And the societal and cultural messaging is that boundaries are selfish. Anger, if we're angry, then we're hysterical or crazy. And if we're assertive, then we are pushy. So we're met with shame, fear, punishment, sometimes violence. I mean, that's prevalent. A lot of us women don't feel safe walking on the streets, and that's true. And I have this like radar. It's small, but it's still there, where if there's a group of strange men that I don't know, my nervous system picks up on, is this a safe place to be right now? And the result is that we swallow that anger, we turn it inward. And we start feeling like, what is it? How do I need to change? How do I need to become better or more compliant so that no one is angry around me, so that everything is safe and calm? I mean, we are also the mediators and the peacekeepers, right? So a lot of women that I know don't even recognize that they are angry. They're angry at their parents for the unfairness of things that happened growing up, angry for how women are mistreated and abused in the whole world, angry how women are not paid the same rate as men in the workplace. These are valid reasons to be angry, but we don't recognize it because we've been trained so well to think that we are the problem, that we need to shove it down, and anger is not a good thing. So let me go to anger as a healthy life force energy. In the wild, animals, they express anger when they need to protect their cubs. Their survival is threatened. They need to defend their territory, hunt, and even rage as a last resort when they feel like they can't escape. These are survival energies. And this is wired in our mammalian, in the same nervous system that we have as well. So it makes sense for us to feel angry when someone violates our boundaries, or our needs are not met, or something that matters to us is not being validated. And when we don't express anger to protect ourselves and protect what matters to us, this energy again gets swallowed inside it. That energy, that life force energy doesn't go away. It gets locked up in our body, which causes nervous system dysregulation. It causes irritability, anxiety, rage outbursts. It leads to burnout, fatigue, or heart attacks, and whole autoimmune disease, all kinds of chronic illnesses when that energy gets trapped in our body. What then can we do to start integrating and reconnecting to our innate healthy anger? I'll start with explaining what healthy anger does not look like. It's not venting. It's not screaming at people, blaming, projecting, shaming. No, that is not healthy anger. That is an expression of misaligned, misattuned anger because we haven't processed our inner wounding. So in somatic experiencing, what we need to do is we need to build safety and capacity in our body first, because most likely there is fear connected to feeling the healthy expression of anger, the anger of having been treated unfairly. Maybe we were criticized, shamed, blamed, or bullied at school, made fun of. When we weren't able to feel that, there is now fear associated with connecting to those younger parts of us that were hurt. So we go slowly. We don't feel all of that energy at once, because that would dysregulate us even more, re-traumatize us. So we slowly start connecting to that energy of anger, and there are many different practices that can be used to help mobilize that anger. And anger doesn't always have to be expressed in ways of hitting things and shouting what we see in social media and what we believe anger to look like, but it can also be a silent screaming inside our body, but letting that energy still move through. It's all about letting that energy move through and leave our body. So the integration piece is also really important, of allowing that energy to also discharge, settle, and integrate at the end. And once we know how to let that anger move through our body and how to feel boundaries energetic, what is our no? This is, I don't like being treated like that. This is full fucking no. Until we don't know how to feel that energetically and somatically, we can't move to that next piece of verbally communicating that. Because we can speak the right words, say everything right, like, don't treat me this way. But if we don't say it from a grounded place where we're connected to our body somatically and haven't processed any kind of childhood stuff, societal stuff, any wounding connected with that, those words, even if they're boundaries, will fall flat. It is more energetic. It's more in the posture, in the energy you vibrate out, in the tone of voice, in your facial expression, that makes more of a difference than the perfect words. But once we have an energetic boundary, we're somatically connected to anger, and we can process that with someone else safely, unless that person also knows how to hold that space. It's better to process anger not with that person you're angry at, and then come back to a grounded place and then communicate what makes you angry to that person. And when we've harnessed that, now we can go out into the world and start expressing no's of how women are treated, expressing and standing up for our rights, standing up for being treated equally, treated well, and also standing up for being a woman and having women needs that we're all emotional beings, but we're connected more to sensuality, we have a cyclical cycle, all these things that don't fit into that masculine type of working. We can go out and set our boundaries of how we want to exist in the world. And then we can say no to situations, say, ouch, I don't like that, leave a situation, protect the people that we love, and stand up for ourselves and our community. So let's reframe anger as anger itself is not a bad thing, but anger suppressed or anger that leaks out because we're wounded, that's not healthy for us. That makes us sick and it hurts other people. And if you're here thinking, I don't have anger issues, I am, you're a good girl type, very compliant, I bet that there is anger to connect with in you. And I bet also there is somewhere in you where it feels like the energy, the life force is can use a little bit of oomph and spa, and there's a bit of lifelessness there. So if you're interested in exploring that and bringing more life energy back into your life and connecting to healthy anger, if you want to work with me, then check out the resources below. I have free resources and also ways to work with me and how to contact me. And if you enjoyed this topic, please like this video and subscribe to my channel. It's free and it really helps me.